Shouts out Big Steve.
What's up? Big Brand MMA, early tease. 12 hours before UFC Saudi Arabia, as James Adler said. Why is it an early tease this late? I just wanted to be honest. Didn't do as much tape as I would want to for a final podcast, but actually did a bit of tape this morning. So, I've got some good reads on these fights. Obviously, a little bit late. I've been flat out last weekend. There was no UFC, but I also had a Bucks weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bender, just off my head. My wedding's in 3 weeks. I got some design work, so it's good news because I needed the money right before the wedding. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm not quitting or anything. It's just life is very, very busy at the moment. Good news is this podcast is now sponsored by TAB, number one betting company in Australia. So that's good. Other than that, yeah, we'll break down this card. We'll keep it quick because, if I'm going to do these podcasts, in the next few weeks while I'm getting married and with the family over from Europe, it's going to have to be short, sharp, and quick. And usually I would do a podcast for KSW last week, my favorite promotion, but I couldn't do it. I was away, so I felt bad. And I almost missed out on doing another podcast this week. So, yeah, I don't like doing that. I've been doing this for like almost 3 years. I pride myself of always doing a show. So let's see what we can make, what reads we can make. Give me some tips, give me some comments in the live chat, and we'll address it, right? In terms of profit, I lost $500 last week on 2 weeks ago on UFC. Didn't have anything. I was just poking stuff. What do we have? Started off with a good parlay of Tagir and Chapage, won 250 there, half a unit. Played a little Guffarov KO. Played a little Rosa round 3. Played some Dawson round 3, Ferrero KO, donated there. Had Guskov KO. Withdrew that, thank goodness, because that would have been so tilting when he got that submission. Left half a unit on Reese because of CLV. I hated that. That was my first regret. Then my next regret was parlaying Hani Barcelos under with the Holland under, and then losing that parlay. I didn't re-add on the Holland under, which was heaps of value. I had Gel Tolomeda KO at $3.50. Then I cashed it out. Just a bunch of things that just I was up again, and then slowly ended up losing. And then my last bet was Islam by KO, and he gets a sub. So, just $500 down. And then this was my biggest regret last week, so barely any time to tape, super flat out. And KSW, I played Mika Frilic. I had a full unit on him at plus 170. I was telling people he's a fraud. There was some noise telling me, nah, he's unproven. Ended up cashing out and then rebetting while I was drunk at my Bucks for like plus 145. Runs through him, to win a unit, $500. Should have really been a unit minimum. And then this guy right here, Andrew Vrtacic. Man, I just thought he was going to knock out Kesic. Kesic is never to be trusted at massive favorite odds. And he went up to $9 on Bet Online. Usually I'm not up that late. It was like 2 a.m. Obviously, I was getting drunk. So I had to look at the odds on Bet Online. I'm like, wow, $9. I'm like, that should at least, if I'm too scared to put half a unit because he might get knocked out, that should at least take $100 for me to win 800. And I went to sleep feeling in my gut that I'm going to regret it. And I woke up regretting it. But yeah, I would have got that right. I mean, all the favorites, I thought I was going to parlay the favorites without any tape, Patrick and Muslim. And I donated a little bit to Danny Truchilla. He went up to like $3.70 underdog, close 29-28. No regret there. But yeah, profited $300 there thanks to my boy Frilic. But yeah, KSW, my best promotion last year. And just my reads are just amazing on this promotion. I really should bet every fight, like I used to do in the UFC. And what else did we have? We had PFL. I just put half a unit on Paul Hughes to win $1,000. Apparently it was very close. I didn't watch it. I was sleeping. No regret there. And LFA, I just had a couple of pokes. I didn't remember. Let me have a look. Barely had time to tape the card. I poked a little. What did I poke? Poked a little this Pacheco Para guy. Had an E-bar, then got gassed and lost. Probably should have gone with the under. And I poked the Antunes Magomedov under 1.5. The limits weren't open at Pick'em, and I was going to re-add. And yeah, I forgot. But yeah, ran through them in one round. So I ended up making like $75 there. So yeah, not much. Again, I barely any tape. I was trying to enjoy my weekend party. Um, as you can see here for January, first time ever down almost 4 units for the month of January in 6 years. And yeah, I was like, I need a reset. I didn't have a reset in over the festive period or November, December, because I was really grinding on Ryzen and Oktagon New Year's event. So I felt a bit burnt out. And the fact that I went down on UFC twice when I should have profited, it was like, yeah, I'm burnt out. I'm forcing stuff. Let's take a break. Let's get drunk. So yeah, a little bit up on KSW, a little bit up on LFA, down on PFL. So 1,800, no biggie. End of the year, we're going to profit. So it's just how much time I'll have the next few weeks. But let's get into it, right? Oktagon, and I didn't tape the whole thing. There's a lot of squash matches. Smiley's fighting this 50-year-old woman that's only been fighting for like 2 years, apparently. So, I mean, I get why the line is where it's at. Zoran Solaja versus Lukas Elias. I haven't taped this one. I know Solaja, he's got issues with his takedown defense. Let me just wiki cap a bit. Yeah, he got knocked out by Bartel. The odds are quite close. Lukas Ellis, I was taping this guy a bit. That one I'm gonna have to. Yeah, he's been finished a bunch himself too. That one I'm gonna have to revisit. Dulato versus this guy. I haven't taped Massive Juice. Emir Khan, I know him, Massive Juice. I taped Daniel Solaja and Rafael Frederico. Solaja, again, another brother that could be taken down quite easily. So I get it. Federico's a wrestler. But this, I kind of felt like I wasn't rushing to fade Solaja, or Solaya, I should say. He did beat this kid right here, Zarebi, who we bet on as a big underdog in Oktagon. And that's a decent win, even though he was getting taken down. Hromek, the guy that beat him in Oktagon, not the worst guy despite his salty record. So, yeah, I just felt like I don't really know much about this Italian guy. Just because he can go for takedowns, will he look value? Maybe. And then I left it, and now the line is just way out of whack. Federico is like a massive favorite now. I'll circle back around to that one. Hoyat versus Kennedy. This is a short notice fight. I know Hoyat is a wrestler. I have to look into it. Kahoot versus a keeper. I like the keeper as an underdog. Two strikers. I thought a keeper was younger, less shop worn, more room for improvement. Now the line is flipped, and a keeper's a massive favorite, and never. A keeper as a massive favorite, never. Who is this last guy that he fought? Dominic Shoba. He's awful. And Shoba dropped him in round one. He had to win a 29-28. This Ivica Trushek guy is awful as well. 42-39. He doesn't have any good wins on his record in like 10 years. And he submitted a keeper. Yeah, so this, it's just, are you brave enough to play Kahoot? Because he's kind of like a striker that's been dropped and hurt before, but he gets knockouts himself. So yeah, dog a pass. Denis Ilbay versus Vladimir Lengal. This is a sick fight. This is the battle of the apes. Pretty much same as the Akipa fight. I liked Ilbay as a dog, and now it's flipped. Now he's a decent sized favorite, and now I'm kind of thinking it's Lengal or pass. This fight pretty much plays out who can eat more shit. Both of these guys have been hurt. As I said, both are apes. Both can be taken down. And who can come through it and win? Because they're usually, they're always in wars. They have no regard for their defense. Lengal is always getting injured. In the last fight against Frey, who's a common opponent, Frey was like eating him up to the body and hurting him. And then Lengal landed one knee and knocked him out. Like, there's no quit in either of these guys. So it's just like ape versus ape. I feel like maybe pick him. Maybe Ilbay a slight favorite because he seems to be less shop worn. Like Lengal, I bet him against Torres, and he hurt his knee straight away, and still competitive. But the fact that he lost to Torres, Torres is beyond washed. That's an issue, but yeah, it's a tough fight. It's very volatile, but dog a pass. Penage versus Zawada. I had a 5-unit banger, $2,500 on Penage and Karim in the main event parlay, and I didn't tip that out for like more than a week because I thought it was a lock, and I had this sinking feeling that as soon as I tipped this to the public, everyone's going to get on it, and one of the fights was going to get cancelled. And go figure, the main event fell apart. So then I had 5 units on Penage straight. I went to cash out 1 unit, and yeah, so I have 4 units, 2,000, and then I realized, I have a lot of CLV. Why don't I just leave? Why don't I just leave the straight? Because I think he's going to win. He's got a high chance of getting around 1 KO. So Wada's always been shit, even when he was in the UFC. And now he's fighting up at middleweight. He's 34. He was knocked out by Lial, Magomed, and even Marek Mazuch in under 2 minutes. And even before that, he's eating shit in a lot of these fights. Gets knocked out a lot. So Penal should knock him out. So yeah, let's move on. Lom Ali SQ versus Vando Jr. This is a 24-hour short notice fight. I mean, Lom Ali should beat him, but how bad is Jr.? Let me have a look. UE Warriors. He's not the worst guy, actually. No, he's not a complete bum. But yeah, Lom Ali has issues with his cardio, so I don't know if it's worth looking into it. I don't even know if we have odds. So. And Camille. This is another short notice, but Camille was fighting. He's fighting Old Man Hoyat, and he got moved to the main event. Kareem is a massive favorite, bigger favorite than he was in his original fight, and that was an easier fight. Camille is not bad at all. He just gasses a bit. So, an interesting one. Interesting one. All right, let's go to the UFC. All right, go to the UFC. And let's see what we got. All right. So Hamdi. Now a lot of CLV on this card. A lot of action, a lot of money. A lot of people's actions have moved lines a ton. So are they accurate? I don't know. Maybe some are accurate. For some the other ones, I feel like maybe we can go the other way. So Hamdi, this a little bit of an underdog now as a favorite. Pretty much pick him. I didn't go deep into it. I reminded myself Hamdi. He's good power. He's quite explosive, and Jamal Pogues. Hard to trust the guy, hard to put money on him. But he beat a guy similar to Hamdi, archetype. Thomas Peterson, who we'll speak about soon enough, a southpaw wrestler with power. He beat him too, just recently, even though it was slim margins. But he was very hittable in that fight. So, if this fight extends, Hamdi, for massive layoff, the PED suspension, just too much for me to tape and get involved, considering I don't have much time. Bogdan Grad, Lucas Alexander. The fight that's had the most CLV, honestly. Lucas was a decent-sized underdog. Now he's favorite again. I get it. He's the more technical striker. Really nice, shot selection. And Bogdan Grad, it doesn't pass the eye test in terms of technique and how raw he is. But the guy can crack. The guy can crack. He's knocked out a lot of dudes. He's submitted a lot of guys. He's landed spinning wheel kicks. A lot of guillotines, good ground and pound. He's got really bad takedown defense. I wasn't sure if Lucas is someone that can exploit that. But Lucas, I faded him against Jacko Seregi, and he got sparked there clean. So does he have chin issues? If he has chin issues, man, he could potentially get ran through by Bogdan. But he's so much taller. And it's one of those ones, yeah, he's been submitted a bunch as well. If you like Bogdan, might as well play the under, I reckon. If Bogdan went to war with what's his name, Aswell, and neither of them could get knocked out. Showed good chins, but Aswell ate a lot. Will Old Mate be able to eat a lot? Who knows? I have to go deeper in this, but straight away I felt like I was kind of tempted on Bogdan. Honestly, I was tempted on Bogdan, and then I saw how technical Old Mate is, and I was like, maybe I'll leave it. Evan, how are you, Evan? I'm really amused by all the experimentation on your channel. Keep at it, my friend. Danny took plus 130 on Hamdi. Hometown judges and looks the better wrestler. Yeah, there's a lot of public plays this week. Alrighty. Jasmine Jusdavicius, Moira Bueno Silva. That's another one. Jasmine went up to minus 200 at one point. I get it. I played her, or I lie better against Lipski. It makes sense. There's some similarities. Moira Bueno Silva, not the best takedown defense or not the best get-ups. But on the ground, she's not going to fall apart like someone like Ariane Lipski, who actually has improved takedown defense, but just falls apart. Anyone that's taken her down in rounds 2 and 3, they just have their way with her. But Moira Bueno Silva, she's actually taken the back of, Rocky in round 1 and round 2. She's submitting girls. Can Jasmine stay safe? Possibly, I lean so, but her back was taken by Fatima Climb as well. She was in a deep armbar by, what's her name? Miranda Maverick. And man, she lost to Tracy Cortez only last year, or a year and a bit ago. I don't rate Tracy Cortez that high at all. And she lost because she was getting hit on the feet. And Tracy Cortez is a wrestler, but she's not hard to take down. Gato took her down multiple times with ease. So I think Jasmine has had some good matchups recently. You know, Priscilla, Fatima is going to age beautifully. Fatima Klein, Fatima's an animal, but there is an asterisk there with the short notice and upper weight class. So I think she's had a few good matchups for her. Even Maverick, you know, Maverick's awful, and now she's getting a massive juicy line against Moira Bruno Silva, who is pretty much the highest ranked opponent she's ever fought. And yeah, so I thought I would like the Yasmin juice, but I don't. I don't like it, and ideally I would like to live bet this fight instead, when maybe Moira Bruno Silva has some success early in round one, and then maybe gasses. But man, this starts at 1 a.m. for me. 1 a.m. It's the worst possible time. Like if it was 3 a.m., I could sleep a bit, wake up 4 or 5, but worst possible time. But we'll see. The under is also tempting. But leaving it for now. FIFA Gaming having plus 165 on Lucas Alexander. Yeah, you boys got a lot on. I think wasn't a good week for me to get complacent and just leave everything last minute, but I had a lot of work, a lot of wedding commitments, Bucks parties. It is what it is. Bloomdog, what's up, Steve? What is your strongest read? I'll tell you, my friend. It's coming up. And it might be my first moneyline play too. Also, Bloomdog, I responded to your email, mate. So if you want, I can talk to you on Twitter instead. Terrence McKinney versus Hadzovic. Yeah, we know what the play is here. Under 1.5. Will this be the first fight to go over? I will say, based on tape, Terrence looks... Damir looks a bit durable, right? It's the same under as Esteban Ribovics. Actually, this under 1.5 in Ribovics was better. And I don't think Hadzovic hits as hard as Ribovics. I mean, there's clear evidence by how many fights have gone to decision in UFC for him. He has been knocked out by Tysonov. I didn't watch that fight. Yargos was lighting him up, couldn't finish him. Renato Moicano's rear naked choke, I do think, is better than Terrence McKinney's. So yeah, there's but I'm probably overthinking it. McKinney has finished people that very, very quickly, and he's hurt people that are not very easy, that are durable. So I guess the under is the side here, especially if you like Terrence. Like, you want to bet him and hope that he's going to keep getting takedowns later on in the fight. Not really. He's probably going to get knocked out by Damir later on. Here we go. FIFA. Steve, there is money to be made, so wake up at 1 a.m. Mate, the old me would, but I'm grinding so much. I'm trying to have a clear head. I'm trying to not stress as much. So I've been liberated a bit by losing my first ever January, and then being too busy to chase with my design work. It's kind of made me realize it's okay. I'll make it back in February, March, and I don't have to make it back this week. I can make it back next week. Whereas before I was always tense. There's money to be made. Got to wake up 1 a.m. to live bet, even though there's no live bet opportunities. So it's all right. When it happens, it'll happen. I'm finally in a spot that I always wanted to be in, but it's by design. It's because I'm so busy that I don't have time to grind. So will I wake up 1 a.m.? I don't know. Danny P, surely McKinney grapples here. Don't hate round one sub. Yeah, round one sub. I think that's the path, man. Sub is favored for a reason. Maybe we just go with that. And then maybe Terrence can get a round 2 sub, but we'll see. Shamil Ghazi, Thomas Peterson. I mean, there's got to be value in Peterson. Like, Ghazi, I don't think Peterson's that bad. He's rebounded after losing to Pogues, and he won against Usman, who I think might actually be better than Pogues. He's got power. He's a high-level wrestler himself. He has a really high-level single. So he was beating Waldo Acosta on the regionals, who I think Waldo Acosta is, trending towards the ranking in the UFC. So, yeah, maybe Shamil knocks him out. That's what people are saying. But, he hurt Dontel Mays, and then he grappled him. Right? He basically took Dontel Mays to a decision. So make of that what you will. If this goes to a decision, this is going to be competitive. Probably a live bet fight, but yeah, I mean, no way. Shamil, it's not going in my parlays. Speaking of not going in my parlays, Mohammed Naimov versus Khan O'Phil. I see, people very confident in Naimov. I get it. I get, Khan was just knocked out by Santos, and people think it's going to happen again. But honestly, Naimov looked good, man. He looked good on Ultimate Fighter. Like, he mauled Nathan Fletcher. He mauled Royce. I don't think Royce is the best fighter. He's the South African striker, I think he is, or a grappler. And yeah, he just Khan O'Phil just looks like this ape, grappling ape. He's a black belt, or he was a brown belt before the Ultimate Fighter. He just runs through these guys, So, yeah, Naimov has been grappled before, but there's no way I'm parlaying, Naimov. But the under seems to be a popular play here. I know a few on him. So, yeah, I looked into it briefly before the show, and I get it. It kind of feels like Naimov KO, and I felt like I don't think anything else is going to happen other than Naimov KO because he couldn't even knock out Wood, who's chinny. And then I just went into O'Phil, and yeah, he's getting some submissions, rear naked chokes, guillotine chokes, and he's getting close in his decision wins as well. So I was like, maybe he can sneak in something against Naimov because I do still believe he's a fraud. So yeah, potentially there's some value on that under. Here we go. For SCM, Mike Davis. I take this one. This is the closest lean and the closest I was to actually locking in Mike Davis. Bloomdog, strongest read. I think my strongest read here that is Mike Davis, and I think Mike Davis should be a favorite. The question is, how big of a favorite should he be? The reason I still haven't locked in Mike Davis is because apparently the line seems to be trending more and more towards Pick'em. And yeah, it's another CLV bet. I think Ziam at massive dog makes sense because he will be close at some points. But I feel like there's a high chance that he won't be close. Like Mike Davis running through Borcher, running through Levy, running through Gifford. Sure, not the best fighters. And I don't really care about his Gilbert Burns short notice, 5 years ago, right? When Gilbert Burns was in his absolute prime. But yeah, I mean, Mike Davis is so well-rounded. He's so good. I only had to watch one fight to remind myself, Natan Levy fight. Natan Levy is not the best fighter, but he's meant to be a black belt, a credentialed black belt. And even before the sub, Davis was just rinsing him on the ground. Just levels, right? Plus the wrestling, plus the physicality. I will say Ziam is improving. His takedowns, he's wrestling people himself now as well, So taking down Frivola, who's meant to be a good wrestler, reversing Puelles, taking down Herbert, Figlak, and he actually has really good ground and pound. So in the scrambles, when he actually reverses, gets out of position, gets out of subs, he throws great ground and pound on top, and he kind of steals rounds. But all these wins, Claudio Puelles, Frivola, who's chinny and kind of gassed out, Herbert, who's chinny, Figlak proved to be a Cage Warriors, bum. Terrence McKinney ran through him. Luigi Vendramini, 1 round 3, almost finished him, but when he actually decided to ignore the jab and start pressuring. So, yeah, I mean, I'm only leaning like one of these guys. Only one of these guys can have a favorite upside. And I think that's Mike Davis. Mike Davis kind of slows down. He looks to be gassing, but is Faraz someone going to push that out of him? And also Faraz slows down too. Hence why, round 3 against Puelles, takedown started coming easy again. Round 3 against Figlak, he started to get taken down. Luigi, round 3. But yeah, Mike Davis will pass. I'm just going to tape the old fight with Sadiq Youssef for Davis because I need to see him fight some really good strikers. And then, when he can't get the wrestling off, and then I'll make my opinion there, and then I'll probably lock it in. But I think maybe Davis should be 60% minimum. I think Davis has the highest ceiling. Alrighty, Said Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Oliveira. This is a great fight. This one, I have a gut feeling like there's going to be some plays here. Whether it's Vinicius as a dog, whether it's maybe Said as a favorite because he's quite good, and Oliveira looked good against a chinny and flaky Ricky Simone. But what happens when he fights someone like Said who can actually match his striking acumen on the feet? Or the under. I also feel like the under could be potential here. So yeah, I have to look into this one. I didn't go as depth. I know these fighters well. I bet Martinez. I know how Said lost that. He kind of gassed and became spazzy. He was getting like taken down at will by Said. The Douglas Silva de Andrade fight was very, very close. I'm surprised it wasn't a split. But yeah, he's a very explosive striker, and so is Vincius Oliveira. So this will be awesome fight to watch. But can't comment too much. Same as Sergey Pavlovich. I already know this is going to be a shit show. Like, I'm going to be tempted by the over. I'm going to be tempted by Jairzinho. He could completely go under on both sides. Jairzinho could spark him. Pavlovich could spark him. They could just stare at each other, or they could come out super aggressive. I'm not rushing to tape it because I just know how I will feel about it. Yeah, let's move on. Shara versus Michael Venom Page. Interesting fight. I taped a little bit of Michael Page, taped a little bit of Shara. I see a lot of people like the over. It makes sense. I played the over in the Shara versus Artem fight, and yeah, lands a spinning back fist at the end of round 2. I think if that goes into round 3, it cruises over. Both guys generally durable. Same here. I think Shara is very durable, even though he has been cracked before. Michael Page hits hard. I also think Michael Page is durable. Yeah, but he's moving up to middleweight. Interesting because, man, you have to go back 10 years or more to see his last middleweight fight. He had a couple of catchweight fights, but it was because of his opponents in Bellator. He was actually nowhere near the catchweight. So I don't think he's ever had issues making middleweight, welterweight. So he's not a big middleweight, but he didn't look undersized. And I think he might even be faster. Actually, no, sorry. The speed of Shara might give Michael Page issues because Michael Page is usually much faster, and now he might be coming against the guy that's quite explosive, quite fast. But a weird fight. I don't know what to make of it. I guess the over is the safest thing, if you can't pick a side. But I don't know, man. I just got burnt on the last one. Both these guys have mean potential. Michael Page can kick you in the kneecap and knock you out. Land a spinning, jumping knee, and just weird fight. I don't know how he's going to react at middleweight. I don't know. And Israel Adesanya Imavov. This is probably a fight that I've taken the most, on and off. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's quite a hard fight to get a read on. Let me address the comments first. Sindeala I Matapui. Matapompi. Gaziev in over 5.5 minutes. 5.5 minutes? Is that over 1.5 rounds? $1.92? Yeah, I mean, might as well just play his decision. I don't think he's going to get a finish later on. ZM is mush. I tend to lean that way, but, I'm biased because I really want to lock in old mate. Recency bias 1-1. ZM bit for Ola, who looked career worst, and now he's public dog. Yeah, I agree. He's a decision merchant. Bloom dog. Yeah, take notes, my friend. I can see 2-3 being scrambly shit with Davis gassing and ZM getting a dodgy decision. Yeah, but I mean, Davis is a good grappler, man. He's quite a good grappler and a good wrestler. That's basically, you're basically just saying that ZM's path is like super slim. Said KO plus 950 is crazy. Well, I actually like that a lot, Danny. I forgot to mention, I always thought Vincius Oliveira was cheating. Yeah, plus 850, man, that's great. That might be better than the under. Yeah, Lockdog got KO'd by an absolute nuke by Taleb. It's not like he's chinny. Yeah. Front leg side kicks galore. Yeah, interesting. I have a lot to tape on this card, but I've started to perusal a little bit, and I'm getting good reads, but there's more to be done. And we're at the main event. As I said, hard to get a read. Israel Imavov, it just seems competitive. I'm going back and forth. Like, I have to fade a 34-year-old Izzy, who I was never impressed with, right? Izzy in his prime, going to close, but close, but can't think of a word. But clear decisions with Cannonier and Vittori, Paul Elva's a bit more knocked out Paulo Costa, but never really been impressed with him. And then he gets rinsed by Sean Strickland, and he has excuses. And then he gets rinsed by Dricus du Plessis. He looks good for periods, like most people do, but then he ultimately got finished. And I think he was down on the scorecards. And I regret not live betting it because everyone in my chat was saying, oh, du Plessis looks like crap. And already, at this point, I know not to ignore that, because I know Duplessis' game. I've been betting him since day one, and I live bet him big against Sean Strickland as a massive underdog after round one, and I still fell for it. And then scorecards came out, and actually Izzy was losing, and he was getting hurt in that fight every time he was getting hit. So it's like, there's got to be some value in Imavov, who, they've given him the leads out. They've given him Cannonier. They've given him Allen. And Chris Curtis. And he's passed the test with flying colours. He's passed it against Buckley too. The only guy that he lost to was Sean Strickland. But that guy is like the champ, top 2, top 3 guy. And it's like, he's young. He's passing these tests. There's, the only other guy that he really has to prove that he's better than is Kaya Bohaya. Other than that, who else in the division? Let me have a look. He's number 5. He's pretty much gotten rid of all the contenders. He hasn't fought, Robert Whittaker. I think he would beat Robert Whittaker, honestly. Kaya would probably be a competitive fight. I think he would beat Fluffy Hernandez. Yeah, I mean, he's a good fighter. But then you watch his fights, and they're competitive. They're very competitive. With Roman Dolidze and Cannonier and Brendan Allen, and these guys suck at striking, right? So how is he going to do against Izzy Adesanya? The whole thing just screams competitive. It screams, I don't have a good read. I don't know where either of these, I don't know where Izzy's head is at. So is he washed? Is he not washed? Is this a step down? Is it actually not a step down? So what I think is the most likely thing is the over, but it's minus 200, 4.5 rounds. So not interested. So that's where we're at. I'll read the comments. I'll go over my leads for the whole card, and then I'll call it a day. FIFA, what's your thoughts on Zia and Mike Davis going to decision? Only see a finish from Mike. Yeah, I agree with that. I do think Mike is a pretty bad finisher. He's Slava's chinny, and he was just mauling him, and it couldn't really hurt. What's his name? Jones. I think Jones is a very good win, by the way. Jones will be back in the UFC. He's like 15-2 now, with his losses being to Mike Davis at 29-28 and Ludovic Klein. I mean, it's also aging well, so Jones will be back. But yeah, I mean, Davis, I think he can maybe drop or hurt Zian, but I think his finishing upside is the submission. And then Zian, I agree. I don't give him much chance. Do you think the winner of this fight fights DDP? Yeah, I mean, if Imavov beats Izzy, I mean, the guy is on a massive streak. I would give it to him. But also, who's fighting? Yeah. But also, I think they really want Chimaev to fight for the title. Yeah, I do think Izzy's washed. I hate myself not betting him not betting DDP. I hate myself not live betting DDP when he's the underdog. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll make these mistakes as long as we correct them. All right. So what do we got? So Hamdi Pogues feels like Hamdi's going to come out strong, and then Pogues might win a split later on down the line. Bogdan, I feel, now that the line has come in, I would just play his finish. But maybe Lucas can finish him too. I need to dig deep. I know he's a death by 1,000 cuts. Yasmin, Silva, feeling the under here, but I have to look into it. Damir, McKinney, Damir KO, McKinney sub, under 1.5. See what floats your boat. Shamil, the big ticket. I mean, it's Thomas Peterson or pass. I'll have to evaluate Gazier's finishing upside early. Karnov will pass. I guess the under makes sense. Davis, this might be my first money line. I'm not going to say might. I think I'm just going to lock it in and stop making excuses. Said, Vinicius Oliveira. I mean, there's got to be a play there. I like that Said KO a lot. Pavlovich, Rosenstruck, who the hell knows? Maybe go the distance. Page, Magomedov, I mean, who the hell knows? And Imavov, Adesanya, just feels like this is going to be a competitive striking fight throughout. Alrighty. 6 Hound, I see you came in late. I have $2,000 on Panaz. It was a big parlay, 5 units. Now it's 4 units on Panaz straight. Obviously, the line is gone. But, hey, round 1 KO, it probably still has value. So, yeah, that's that. And there was something else that I'm tempted on. I'm going to take the Oktagon, the close fights. I'm tempted on Langarak over Ilbar now. And I'm tempted on fading Chada Keeper as well. Muslims hitting 75% on this card. Yeah, maybe, man. That's not a given. Don't say that. Not a given at all. Maybe on the first fight of the card, it is. because the worst robberies happen on the first fight. If you haven't noticed, I think maybe people think the judges think they can get away on the first fight of the card, and then everyone forgets about it. It's very common. Always happens. So Liao got robbed. What's her name? Edwards versus that chick that's in Oktagon now. Got robbed. Robbed her. Yeah, first fight on the card is dreadful. Alrighty. Peace out. Well, that's it. I'm going to try, the family's coming from Europe. I'm going to keep trying to pump these out, make time for them. And yeah, apologies there wasn't a card last week, but shit happens. Leave a comment. You don't have to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let's discuss this card. Let's discuss Oktagon. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. Yeah. Thanks for listening.